Hi, and welcome to our summary of the book in our Parenting and Non-Religious Spirituality book club. Today, we discuss the book Parenting with Peace and Presence, 10 powerful practices to help you manage the challenges and cherish the joys of parenting by Nicole St. Arnaud, and Anne is showing the book. This is a beautiful, simple book offering us skills to help parents navigate the first years with greater ease and grace. And it includes both Nicole's personal stories and struggles with beautiful wisdom within, mostly based on yoga, but also beyond. Mm-hmm. And I'll let Anne continue, and then we'll come back to some interesting points.
Yeah, what I liked about the book is really the connection of a practice that maybe many people do, like yoga, breathing, mindfulness practices, but connecting it to parenting and to really showing the wider power that's hidden in the practice that we're doing. So that is what was a new thing for me and was really inspiring. And connecting it to what she said, peace and presence. I like it, that peace work is really important to me. So that it is a goal for parents to be in peace with their parenting role as well as with their children in whatever way they appear and what they do. And that this being present, being fully present in the world, that this is the tool how to go through this wonderful journey that we go with our children, however it turns out to be. So this is what I really, really liked about it. And I think that's the special thing. And I like small books, to be honest. I like small books. It's a very small one. Because sometimes it's important to have a big book, and sometimes it's important to have a small book, because especially when it comes here, it's very precise. I think it's very to the point.
Yes.
And she focuses on the 10 practices and no more. And so it's a guideline, and it's also not needed to read it from front to back, but you can also just jump in the different chapters. So I find it very reader friendly and very inviting. So I could see this day, breath, it's my topic. I jump into that. Yeah. But I think in our discussion before, we decided that today,
we'll focus on a specific chapter.
Yes. And it's called Seeing the Light in All Things, the Power of Your Perception. What happened when you read that, Ifrat? What was the main thing that you took from it?
I read Nicole's book with a smile, also because I recognize Nicole is struggling with a chronic illness, and which challenges her parenting, and she is growing beyond that, which is beautiful. And I personally related, because I had those years when my daughters were young and I was recovering from the car crash and integrating my near-death experience, and that those little pieces of wisdom that awake us. And this specific chapter about the light, it is so related to peace and that nurturing, that deep seed that exists within each child. And I think this is why we both knew that this is a chapter we want to focus on this chapter. And to our listeners, I would say, if you don't have time to read this simple short book, just read this chapter. It's such an important understanding that we wish to see each other not in our dressing, physical human dressing, but as soul to soul. And that is seeing the light, seeing the luminosity, seeing that it's a soul on a journey, or a being on a journey, with all of their beauty and gifts. And then in the way that Nicole shares it, it's the challenging behaviors, like a child running around or a child being annoying. We suddenly are able to see them from a different perspective, because we're reminded that this is just a moment. This is just a behavior, possibly trying to say something or invite us or expressing something. And if we see the luminosity beyond that, that opens our eyes. What about you? Why would that chapter like more?
I like the beginning when she described, like when the child comes to us, everything is in harmony, or most of the time. It's like, it's this wonderful state of being and being together and being very close. And then the moment the personality shows up, it's perceived very often, now it's against me. You're doing it to harm me. He's in annoying, and it creates the gap, or like a wall build up, so that this unity becomes like something more a fighting mode. Yeah. And I can see that in parents happening with small children. He's doing it on purpose or whatever, and whoops, why? And she's mentioning that moment with this soft bond is sort of breaking or getting loose in a way. And I really liked it because it was a very tender way of explaining a dynamic that will stay on for a long, long time.
If we don't stop it.
If we don't stop it, right. And then like seeing the light, as you said, it's beautiful, and also allowing the other, our children, to shine their light, to fill themselves with light and shine the way they shine, even if it's different to our light or to what we are used to. And to have this awe and this wonder in the whole in this communion that we are having with our children. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, they carry this seed of light. They come luminous, and it's about nurturing that.
Yes.
And reflecting. I'm also thinking, as we talk about our shamanic practices and about the ability, which can be cultivated and learned, to take that deep breath and observe each situation in the various perceptual states. So physically, yes, the child might be throwing food on the floor, if I'm taking one of her examples. My tweens used to, one would throw her food on the floor, and then the other would observe us picking things up and asking that it would not happen. And as soon as everything was cleaned up, the other would test us as well to see if this is happening. There was a lot of laugh around it. But so those behavior, that's like physical, but then we explore the emotions and we explore the thought processes. And in our practices, in our shamanic practices, we also try to figure out or observe the mystical, what's happening at the soul journey level, what's happening at the energetics. And at the energetics, we are all light, and maybe there's some resolution that is needed, or an invitation for mutual growth. And she's offering it to us from her perspective and experience from yoga. I think we can meet it from another perspective, but it's the same, taking that large bird's eye, looking at the processes, at the invitations. And it's a reflection, it's like once we see each other's light, everything changes.
And from the soul's journey aspect, I always felt like this honor that my children chose me and my husband to be their teachers, and to hold a setting where they can evolve and learn and grow in this world and go on the next journey. I think that's really amazing. And that sometimes I really overwhelmed by it. From all mothers on earth, you chose me. It's amazing.
It is amazing. They chose you, and they came to you as to be their guide here, but they also came as our teachers. My daughters are my teachers just as I am their guide here.
Totally.
But if we don't stop, take that breath and stop and go into that understanding of we're on a shared journey, and if we don't do as Nicole invites us, see the light in one another, see the luminosity, see that it's all much greater than that moment, and reflect it to one another, everywhere, not just our children, just reflect it to everyone. Then we can't step beyond those incidents, and then they accumulate and they take us down instead of expanding us.
Yeah. And I like her exercises, like the way she infuses the light. There are so many different ways to do it, the way we are trained to do it, or you learn on your way. But this one, I really liked it, to really fill yourself with light, fill others. And
Yeah.
we also with the intention that you, whatever you interact, maybe you tell your child really not to do things because they're not appropriate for the relationship or whatever. So you are guidance in a way, but you do it from a point of light and talking to another light. And that changes your behavior a lot and
Yeah.
gives you space also for your nervous system really to calm down. Because I think this is also an aspect, really, it's important because you're in a state of being feeling of being attacked by your child, or really being, it can even feel like being threatened. You need to calm down first in order to react and come back to your own light and really settle in before you can see what's beyond. And
Yeah. And I think that a lot of the other chapters offer many of these tools that can both help us come down at a moment and also take us deeper, such as the chapter on self-reflection, inviting us to ask, what type of parent do I want to be? What's important for me? She has a list of questions, just check out in her book, and a list of questions inviting us to explore really deep meanings. And I think every parent needs to stop and ask those questions, and possibly many others, to be intentional, about the parenting, consciously choosing, walking in that expanded, spiritually aware space of who we are and why we're walking this journey, and why we're talking here about parenting and non-religious spirituality, because it weaves in, and it's
very much, it weaves totally in, and it creates the foundation also in relationship for how children grow and what they experience. Because I think if you allow them to see your luminosity, to allow yourself to be present, that's a beautiful thing. That's the biggest gift you can give to anybody, and especially to your children.
Permission to be who we are, our essence. It's a beautiful book, and maybe Anne, you can show it again.
Yes,
I have it on my Kindle. We both recommend it. Simple reading, important reading for those of us weaving spirituality into our lives. Thank you for joining us in this summary of our book club, Parenting and Non-Religious Spirituality. I'm Efrat Shokef, and this is Anne Beer. And you can find us on our website, and it's in the links and with all the information. Blessings.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.